The House and Senate each have different ideas for the Army's physical fitness test. The House Armed Services Committee wants to implement gender-neutral standards for soldiers in combat with one passing grade on the current test. The Senate's version would revert the Army back to the test used prior to 2022 and require it to be redeveloped.
And joining us now to discuss our panel, retired Gunnery Sergeant for the U.S. Marine Corps and Ambassador for the America First policy, Jessie Jane Duff, and former Navy SEAL and FBI agent Jonathan Gilliam. Jessie Jane, I'm going to start with you here. Your take on this potentially gender-neutral test. I don't know how much more detail you know about it. It's something that could be a good thing. But Bob, you were pointing this out. You know, if there's a certain, literally a bar that everybody has to reach, instead of lowering,
or if you lower it,
exactly.
It's not, no.
Yeah.
So set us straight here.
No, not a good thing.
Okay.
No, not a good thing. First of all, the physical fitness test is not a grade of equality. It's a grade of fitness. If you have a gender-neutral test, then essentially men who are less qualified are now meeting the same standard that women can meet. That is ridiculous. Women have 20% less lung capacity, roughly 45% less muscle mass. The physical fitness test is to grade your fitness. Women should be able to meet a certain standard, and men should be able to meet a certain standard. Once you get neutral, now the bar's going slightly up for women and is going down significantly for men. Women do not comprise of 50% of your military active duty. In fact, in the United States Marine Corps, they're 8%. Women still have a very tough standard to meet. For women, our upper body strength is different, our lungs are different, our legs are different.
But why would the House do that?
Gender neutral,
Jessie, why would the House
because the military has convinced people that we are no longer a force of readiness, that we are an equal opportunity employer. There is one purpose for the military, and that is to overwhelm and destroy the enemy, not to sit back and make sure that everybody can qualify to join. It is not a right to join the military. It's a privilege and it's a standard. It's a meritocracy that you must meet.
All right. And Jonathan. Very well said, Jessie Jane. Also want to get your thoughts on this. Robert Wilkie, who served as Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness in the Trump administration, says the House's gender-neutral plan could work if executed properly. Take a listen.
I think the general neutral standards would be fine if you have high enough physical fitness standards. They no longer permit failures in physical fitness tests to go on the efficiency reports of officers. So that sends a what the heck message to the troops, and a very dangerous message at that.
Your thoughts, Jonathan?
Well, it goes far beyond a message. You know, it's a reality is that if you have senior enlisted and senior officers who eventually get in charge of the military and their readiness, if they are not physically fit and they're not able to, at the beginning, and they're not able to reach the standards, there's a great possibility that they probably shouldn't have been in the military to begin with. And physical fitness standards, while some would say, well, why would you have somebody who's going to be a secretary or somebody who's going to be a cook? Why would you have them have the same standards, fitness standards to get in? And that's because we are as Jessie Jane Duff was talking about, we are a readiness unit that is used and utilized to secure our national security, fight our enemies, and wage war. And the people who are in charge, who did not have the physical fitness abilities that they should have had, no matter what they were in, will eventually be in charge, and they will not understand the physical readiness.
Yeah.
And then one other thing, Bob, when you're looking at ground combat units, and now that they're, pushing women into the ground combat units, we have to have the best of the best, and that's what should set the standard.
Right.
What do we need in ground combat? What fitness level do we need? And let that set the standards, not the politicians.
Yeah,
let
in an
the
effort to
jobs
recruit
set the
more.
Standards.
Yeah. Jonathan, I've said this, Katrina can vouch for this. I have said that you're the only guy that comes in here, one of the few guys that I feel like you could kill me in about 30 seconds and I wouldn't even know what hit
statement.
me.
Yeah.
And then I've also said, Jessie, I just think you are the best. I've met you a couple times, and you do scare me a little bit because I think you could take me too. So,
that's true.
But the point being, you, both of you, are the kind of people I want defending our country. And I think, Jessie, that's the point you're making, is both of you are making.
Every Marine is a rifleman. Every Marine has the capability to defend themselves, defend their country, because you may be a cook, but the front lines can shift very quickly. You could be a motor transport, as I was. I provided logistical support to the combat arms. But at the end of the day, I've got to be able to grab that rifle. I've got to be able to fire. I've got to be able to run. And if you lower the standard for the men to meet a standard that women can attain, you're getting less qualified men. You want to have warriors out there. I've never been a supporter of women in ground combat for this very reason, because it lowers the standard, and a very qualified male often gets bumped when you start having these diversity standards to put women in a unit just so you can show this. The enemy doesn't care about your gender, number one. Number two, this is equivalent to putting women in a mixed martial arts cage with a man, because the combatant units that we will be fighting against are going to be lethal, and often they are high on drugs, methamphetamines. That's why ISIS fighters never quit, and the women will not be able to defend themselves because they are not even equally attaining the same muscle mass that the men can.
Right.
Women are subjected to more injury when they go through these same standards as the men, and you lose more women.
Yeah.
Well, all right, great
Can I
point.
say one thing, Bob? Can I say one thing?
We got
What
10
Jessie
seconds.
Jane-
Yeah, real quick, Jonathan.
What Jessie Jane pointed out, if the government's involved, they will never bring the standards up. They will always bring the minimum standards down, and that's dangerous.
All right, Jonathan Gilliam,
Yes.
Jessie Jane Duff, we thank you both for your impressive service. And Jonathan, we saw some great pictures of you there, too, when you were speaking. Appreciate your insights on this topic. Thanks so much.